Today I thought we'd study on the God's Words to Ponder, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. See you in a minute. The reason we're doing gold, frankincense, and myrrh is because in Matthew chapter 2, it talks about the wise men coming to Jesus. Now, he didn't come like a lot of the picture shows while he was still in the manger. They came approximately 2 years ago from what I've studied. So we're going to read Matthew 2, 1 through 12. When you're ready, you can pause it, and then when you're ready, just start it again and we'll read it together, or just listen along. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and were come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he determined of them where the child should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor, that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when they had found him, bring me word, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced and were exceeding great joy. When they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their country another way. Okay, so it's saying, it starts out with the young child, the baby in the manger, but think of it as a time span. Back then, they couldn't just prepare stuff, hop on a plane, and go there. They had to prepare stuff, and the three wise men got together, and they traveled to the Bethlehem. It doesn't say here how far they had to travel. It's from the east. That's all they say for specification. So they traveled by probably camels, since they had money and stuff, and they had to get together a caravan, the things they wanted to present to this king, and they had to travel on a slow thing, because it's not like they rode on these camels fast. So now the child is a young child, they're saying. So from what I've read, they're guesstimating he's about 2. So they came to worship him and present him with gifts, just like any other king who's had a child, and the other countries would come and worship or present gifts. I don't know if they would worship, but they would present gifts, expensive gifts, and that's what these were. So I looked it up. We all know what gold is, but frankincense was made from the gum resin of several trees of the genus Boswellia and was imported to Palestine. I found that in Young's Bible Dictionary. And then it also says in the Comprehensive Desk Dictionary, a fragrant resin from certain Asiatic or African trees. So they have several uses here for it, and it's saying that as growing in Palestine, it was one of the ingredients in the perfume of the sanctuary and was used as a complement of meat offering. When burned, it emitted a fragrant odor, and hence the incense became a symbol of the divine name and an emblem of prayer. So it sounds like it had an important part in the worship in the temples. And so I went on to look what myrrh was. So we know this was done for the worshiping part. And then the myrrh part was a yellowish fragrance, sap-like resin that comes out of cuts in the bark of certain, now I don't know if I'm saying this right or even close, it's Commiphora, Camphora, I'm not sure, trees, including the Camphora myrrhum tree. Myrrh contains chemicals that might reduce pain and kill bacteria. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They also say it's used worldwide, but especially in China and Egypt. I thought that was interesting. So I found that on the WebMD site. So I thought, okay. So I went on to thinking about this, and I looked up why did they bring those specific gifts. And I thought, it might be an important thing to think about. Why? So I looked up on a couple sites. The first site is The Guardian. And out of all the sites, these two, once I looked them up, the rest of them kind of confirmed with them. And it said, The Guardian, the king's 3 wise men interprets the gifts as symbols, 3 aspects of Christ's future life. 1, the gold for the king. 2, frankincense for worship, like the worship they say they do in the temples with the frankincense. And then myrrh for his death and mourning. So Christianity.com says gold equals the royalty as king of the Jews, frankincense, deity, myrrh, humanity, meaning thus the gifts came to show Jesus as king, God, and man, 3 parts. Gifts fit for a king, they came to worship, both saying they came to worship, and the scripture saying they came to worship and to honor Jesus. So my thoughts with thinking about this, how are we honoring and worshiping Jesus? Are we presenting him with things that show worship and honor? And it doesn't have to be physical things. It can be presenting our lives in a way that honor and glorify him. So that was my thought and my question for the week. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for coming along. Bye-bye.